Now, oh, hello. You're not very welcome. I mean, not that we don't love you, but you're not a welcome sight at all. Now, somebody's sniffing around. Let's just watch this hyena for a little bit. It might actually tell us more about what transpired here. I'm going to go snuffle around where she had the kill. And don't go down that way. Yes, there you go. See how... Now, I can't smell the carcass, but this hyena absolutely can. It knows exactly what went on out here last night. It's come to sniff around the base of the bush. Let's just move now. Let's see where it goes. One thing I don't want to do is chase it down into the drainage line. We shouldn't, but some of the hyenas are more picked some up. I said I think there's a good chance that she's there with the cubs, and I stand by that, having not picked up on any sign of her around here. I think that's probably where she is at the moment. So there, snuffling around there is where the kill was. Oh, if she dragged it, oh, there's bits of meat. I was actually just about to go and examine that area, but the hyena's done it for us. The way that piece of bone's been crunched, I would say the hyenas have come through. No. Maybe they didn't leave a scrap behind. There's a series of marulas just at the back that I don't feel like I've examined properly as potentials, although why she would drag it all the way there, I'm not sure. Yeah, I was thinking maybe to move it away from the den. I don't know which hyena this is. Ah, thank you, Michael Fleetwood. This is Causa, named, of course, after our beloved Herbie. Causa, perhaps you can tell us what transpired. I was going to tell you that given that the hyenas were having a party in our camp last night, judging by the tracks this morning, that I thought there was a chance Tundi might have kept her kill, but of course they don't all forage together. So while a couple of them were occupied in our camp last night, obviously something was happening here in the course of the evening. He's digging around for scraps. Finding that one shard of bone. Luke, I'm not concerned yet, and I'll give you a couple of reasons why. So Luke's wondering if I'm not concerned by the proximity of this hyena to the den. If the hyena does go in the direction of the den, we're not going to follow it in, because that really could cause chaos. But I'm not concerned because I think that hyenas walk past leopard dens all the time. If you look at the way that that hyena tracks cover the entire area at all times, they're wandering around, they're covering ground. There are lots and lots of them. It's now I can smell the carcass. It's not conceivably possible that already at some point the cubs haven't had a hyena walk past their den. That's why leopards den where they do. And try and put them in this most secret, safe possible spot. Where I also think at the moment that Tundi's in there. And while a hyena would kill unattended leopard cubs, I don't think one lone hyena would take on Tundi. I think she would turn into a raging ball of fur and claws and fury. And they would not want to mess with her. Obviously didn't find very much there. Alexa, I think it depends on the circumstances. Look how he's sniffing. I'm going to follow him a little bit.
I don't think he came from a tree where...
That's what I'm just wondering, if he didn't come from the tree where she was. He's definitely sniffing his way back somewhere. I think a leopard could change dens multiple times in a week or not at all. I know that's not a very helpful answer. We know that Tundi has changed dens at least 3 times since those cubs were born. So they're 4 weeks old. That's just under an average of 1 a week. There's a vulture on the ground. Where? Oh, cool. Oh yes, I see that. In fact, it looks as though it's about to go and tackle the hyena, which seems unlikely. Big stump. In front of them. Of course, I'm sorry, James. There's just so many sticks. There you go. That is definitely, I would say, where the hyenas took it off to. That's a horn. If there is a horn being crunched at, then I would say that it's safe to assume she lost this kill. I'm really kind of coming to that conclusion, but now it's relatively obvious. Unfortunately. Oh, excuse me.
Guessing.
Excuse me, thank you. Sorry, took me by surprise. Yeah, the hyenas have definitely got this. These are just the scraps. Well, at least we know, I guess, that our hyenas had a good meal. Or at least one hyena or 2 hyenas did. Causa obviously didn't. He's getting the leftovers. This vulture's got a remaining piece of bone. Now picking away at the bits of flesh. The way that this has been disassembled, I would say that it's very safe to assume the hyenas were here. Oh, here comes vulture number 2. I think to see what they're going to have a little fight over that scrap. Very prehistoric. While vultures fight over the scraps, let's send you across to Lauren, who apparently has found a very interesting insect. The scavengers, I think, have not done exactly what I expected them to do. I thought they were going to fight over the bit of bone, but they were actually quite peaceful. The 2 vultures standing side by side, sharing out the scraps. The hyena, of course, gets first dibs if he wants them. They will never ever tangle with a hyena. The most extraordinary sighting, I think, that we've ever had live with vultures was the one where the lion actually caught that vulture on the giraffe, the dead giraffe in the Mara. That was, I've never ever witnessed anything like that. That poor thing. I can't remember, did they find it again the next morning?
I think so.
And it was alive?
Yeah.
Amazing.
It was stiff.
That was incredible. A Jungle Book-like movement. Oh, it's anal pasting. Cool.
That's exciting.
That was exciting. Very cool. Hands down my favorite sound. I don't know what happened in that second to last one though. Nice little vocal control there. He did. His voice box got tired. There you go. It's not often actually that we get to watch them call. Weirdly. Kurt, you say, why is he alone and where are his friends? Typically hyenas, although they do live in a clan, and the clan is a very important part of their lives, they do spend most of their time foraging alone. I would say especially the males, but I don't actually think that's the case with these guys. But the females and the males will either move about in pairs or in groups of 3 or so. But it's very, very common to see a hyena on its own. They forage on their own. What's interesting is that as a male that was not born into the clan, so as an immigrant male, he is probably one of the individuals responsible for the majority of the territorial whoops, like that. The statistic in some places is around 80% of whoops are performed by males. I'm not sure that we could automatically apply that amount to Djuma, just because there hasn't been a huge amount of extended behavioral research into the hyenas of the low veld. Not really, because they're so difficult to follow. They're almost impossible to research here. You'd have to have a very inventive approach to observation with them. Hyena! Little hyena! Hello, hyena. Hyenas! Woohoo! Never mind the frogs now. Multiple hyenas. Is Paddy here? I think Paddy's here. Oh, this is so exciting. What are you lot doing here? Oh my goodness, I nearly said there's some tracks of hyenas here, but then I didn't. Oh, yay. Yay, yay, yay. They've actually got something. There's one got a bone in its mouth. No, don't you horrible little things go anywhere. No, don't go into this thicket. Please, come say hello. Don't you remember me? You probably remember vehicles. Come and say hello. Who's that big one? Is that Swazi? I can't tell. There's a slightly older one. It's been so long since I've seen these cubs, I don't know them anymore. I haven't spent the time that I should have learning their spots. Let's see how they respond to us. They will still, I hope, retain their cub-like tolerance of us with the vehicle. So let's see if we can get a bit closer. I want to see if there's not more hiding in this drainage as well. How exciting! Yay! Paddy for Giraffe Girl, I mean Ribbon's daughter. Because we were a bit worried with Tucker's behavior that perhaps there was something that had happened to Paddy. Not that, I wasn't that worried to be honest, but there's that phrase again. I'm sorry, James. I have failed your lessons. Okay, apparently one is Swazi. I assume it's the older one. Of course, it's the older one at the back. Hang on. I'm going to try get us into a position where we can see them. They're quite chilled. Okay. No ped. Okay. Some discussion about this, about June's cubs, Sutu and Swana. And Ndebele is a contender for the older cub. Hi, you lot. Just bear with me. I'm going to try not chase them into the drainage line, but I'd also like to get us to a point where we can see them. Where's your mum, you two? For those of you that don't know, Sutu and Swana's mum is June. And she's the one thought to have been... Well, I thought she was the one that was beaten up the other night. And then she was seen... Or a hyena that had been beaten up was seen on the dam cam, bearing many similarities to June. I wonder if this is where these things have been hiding. It's this... Remember the hangout spot around Battalier that we found briefly? and we spent a bit of time with the hyenas here. They were here. Hi, you lot. Luckily, they haven't gone to that adult hyena phase of not liking cars coming close to them. Apart from Sako, of course, who loves cars. And I was also hoping crossing fingers for Plonk, Kristen. I really was. I mean, I'm not going to complain. Hi. Yes, yous. Hello, yous. They look pretty good to me. They don't look in bad condition at all. It's another thing that put paid to my thinking about any kind of disease spreading through this clan is that the babies didn't get it. The youngsters didn't get it, and that to me is almost impossible, given that young animals typically, there's no way that they would be immune to it, I wouldn't have thought. Oh, okay. We're going sleepies now. I wonder if there's any more around. Imagine if we just gathered the whole collection of all of the youngsters all in one spot. It would be so nice. Shame, little ones. I don't know what's going on in your clan, but it can't be fun for you either. It must be horribly unsettling. I feel so sorry for them. Gathered together like this, in taking comfort in each other. Shame. Michael, I was thinking the same thing. I'm not actually going to rejoice or mourn that it's one cub over the other that we're seeing. It is good to see Sutu and Swana are okay after whatever played out with June over the last week or so. It is actually a relief to see them. I would have liked to have seen Paddy as well, and Plonk. Plonk is pulling on my heartstrings wherever he happens to be. I hope he wasn't with Corky when she got that injury. It's so frustrating not to be able to know. It's the one situation where I almost wish we had a way of tracking them at all times, because we're just missing out on so much. Oh, little ones. They're not even coming up to say hello anymore. There are people mentioning that the fluffiness of these young hyenas reminds them of North Clan. I know. And these hyenas go through a stage, all sort of teenage spotted hyenas go through this ridiculously fluffy stage where it happened to me particularly in the Mara because it was so difficult to keep track of them. Once they got to that fluffy point, you couldn't see their spots at all. I could not identify the hyenas of around about 12 months old. It just became impossible. Ronan says that it looks like they had a party last night. They're all exhausted. They've seen something down in the drainage line, but I can't see what it is. They're so pretty at this age. I know they're fluffy, but I love it. I think that makes them gorgeous. You know where we are? We are sitting right above Tundi's den. Not her current den, obviously. I wouldn't do that. But we're sitting right above where she gave birth, where Tristan found over those cubs. Literally right on top. Lioness, you say, are they old enough to make it on their own? Well, hopefully none of them have to. I would say that Ndebele and Swazi would probably be old enough to make it on their own. I would say that Sutu and Swana maybe not. Let's hope that it doesn't come to that. It's animals can always surprise you, but they're still suckling from June. And she's still lactating. I imagine that for Ndebele and Swazi, given Pretty's condition, they're not still. I think they've been weaned for a little while. They would have continued to suckle if Pretty were able to suckle them, but she's just not in that position where she can. I don't know where Lauren actually had that sighting. I must ask her. No, Randall, I don't think that they were evicted from their den. They typically what we call graduate. Well, I say we. Researchers call graduate. They graduated from their den, I would have guessed, about a month or two ago. Petty would have been. Petty was the youngest. She was, I don't even know what month we're in. She must have been coming up on 6-7 months old, so they would have graduated away. I think Petty would have left with Sutu and Swana. And basically what happens is they just spend more and more time away from the den, go on longer and longer explorations until eventually they just don't come back. Which is why I stopped looking for a den, because I couldn't think that unless Hearted had cubs, we were really going to get any luck. I did occasionally check in on the old dens, just in case I was wrong about that. But there wasn't any real reason why they would be using a den anymore. So I don't think they've been kicked out. They've just naturally moved on. It's a dangerous time in a little hyena's life, and it's been made all the more dangerous by the instability within the clan. If I had to guess at what happened, a matriarch's important, and they provide stability, even if it's through a certain amount of aggression. They provide stability, and that stability is important because after that happens, it's like an office that loses its manager, and all of a sudden everybody starts vying for that position, and it becomes a bit chaotic. Sometimes an authority figure is necessary. I'm just going to sit here. Obviously, I'm not going anywhere. This is our first group hyena, my first group hyena sighting in a while. So while I wait with these cubs, let's go back across to Lauren. Snoozing away. They're probably very grateful for the rain, as I think all things are. It's not heavy, so the orioles are still chirping away, making lots of noise, and whatever they heard across through the drainage line hasn't made an appearance. Obviously, I'm not going to move in case we miss June returning. So even though they are very sleepy at the moment, we'll just sit with them. And it gives us an opportunity to chat. Hyenas. I really, really wish we had a way of knowing what's going on. I don't know what magic way that would be. Strap a GoPro to one of their backs. They do. Misty, they are capable of making almost adult-sounding calls at this stage. They're just a little bit high-pitched. So when they actually, even when they're tiny little black cubs, they are capable of producing a little whooping sound. It's too cute for words. This high-pitched little voice. And at this point, their voices still aren't fully developed, so they still... They can whoop, and it's a much louder, much more adult-sounding whoop, but it's still on a higher pitch than the adults. It's a sweet sound. Typically, I don't know if they're going to be acting in a territorial role yet. I would imagine not. It's not exactly intimidating for a rival clan to hear whoops like that. But when you would hear it would be if there's any kind of excitement or disagreement within the clan. Especially if one is being bullied, then they start to whoop frantically. It reminds me of the time that poor little Tip in the Masai Mara was being set upon by Soup and her two daughters. While Waffles was an immensely gentle matriarch, quite a benign matriarchal figure, Soup was not. Soup was, in my experience with her, quite assertive. I wouldn't call her a bully, but she was assertive regularly. And her daughters took after her, and Lobster and Chow just laid into poor little Tip. And Tip started making that whooping sound desperately, trying to try and remind them that I don't know, I always understand it as a sort of a reminder that they're part of the clan. Stop bullying me. I'm one of you. I'm with you. I'm part of your family kind of feeling. But Tip was quite a low-ranked individual. Tip and... I can't remember the sibling's name. Something I never thought I would forget. They were SpongeBob characters. Tip and... can't remember. No, Tip was Patrick. Tip was, this is Patrick. Actually, I don't know. I can't remember now. I can't even remember whose daughter she was. Was she Remington's daughter? No, she wasn't. Oof, that's frustrating. I can't believe my brain's let me down like this. It's been a while. It's been too long since I last had that joy of spending time with the Mara hyenas. My last sighting was Waffles leading me into a wildebeest stampede, at which point I waved goodbye to her and left. I'm really hoping that June's just magically going to show up here. Or Pretty. Either. Both would be wonderful. These three look... well, they look like sleeping hyenas. I think it would be a bit far to take it to say that they look dejected. No, sorry, Kalina, it wasn't Gary. I will remember. If I had my old phone, I'd be able to double check the photos of the clan that I kept on there, but I definitely don't have sufficient signal to jump onto the ID kits. Chris, I did think about that. Chris wants to know if it's possible that there's a leopard kill nearby. It is possible. I haven't seen anything, and I haven't seen any tracks, and I would have expected them to be hanging around or not quite so sleepy, maybe getting up and going to investigate every now and again. They did pick up a piece of bone earlier, but it obviously wasn't a very fresh bone because there was no kind of skirmishing over it. It didn't hold their attention for very long. So I don't think it was a fresh piece of bone. So I don't know. It is possible. And it might be that some of the adults are hanging around underneath, and that's why these youngsters have come across to lie down and sleep away the morning. I don't think so, though. I think they're just here for company. I think they're just with each other because they've grown up together, they know each other, and these are uncertain times. So they're staying together in a little group. The truth is, I just don't know enough about hyena behavior to know what's going on. I'm going to wait to see as the rain gently falls. Isn't it lovely? And let's go across to Lauren, who is just going past Voyatella Pan. I do have hyenas. I have very sleepy hyenas, but I do have hyenas. I'm going to stick it out as long as I can until I get to the point where I think we might be damaging equipment. It's got a little bit heavier. I sort of was hoping it was going to stay a quiet drizzle till the end of drive. But you know what? If it needs to come down now, then so be it. We will survive. Patrick, something's attracted their attention. Please let it be a hyena coming in. Please, please, please. In terms of sleep patterns of hyenas, I would say that they mostly sleep less than cats. I think they're a little bit more active than cats. I would say that they're a solid 8-hour sleep during the day, depending on the temperatures and depending on food availability, and then the rest of the time they will be active. So around about 16 hours they'll be wandering about. When I followed the ones in the Mara, which is the most consistent experience that I have to draw upon, they would... There's something moving. I can see something moving. Please be a hyena. Gert won't be able to see it from where he is. It's far away still. Might be that herd of impala from earlier. But I did see movement. But yes, following the hyenas in the Mara, they would be awake until about 10 o'clock in the morning. Then they'd sleep and they'd wake up at about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And then they'd be active the rest of the night. So they'd lie down every now and again, but they wouldn't really be asleep. The other two haven't really picked up on anything. No, back to sleep. Project Alpha, I guess it's possible that Plonk could have immigrated to another clan, but I think he's still a bit young. I really do, especially for a high-ranking hyena. Again, it's kind of guesswork, but I imagine that having, I don't know, maybe not with Corky in the situation that she was in, but I would have imagined that with a higher-ranked individual, it would be worth sticking around for longer. Like with Waffles' sons. Oh, it's a water buck. That's not very exciting. Just saw it move across now. It's far away still, but that's what they were hearing. I imagine that he would have stuck around for a bit longer. I mean, their jaws are only fully developed at 2 years old, so I'm not sure he'd be ready to face the stresses of immigrating and that drop in status that it would mean for him. But perhaps, I suppose, with Corky's injuries, perhaps it triggered an early dispersal. I wouldn't rule it out, but I don't think it's what's happened. I don't think he would be quite ready for that yet. He was born in September last year. September. So I wouldn't have expected him to go now. Sol wandered off at one point, but I think he was a bit older than that. Roina, between a hyena, leopard, and lion, which has the best smell? Leopards. Leopards tend to be less stinky than lions or hyenas. Please don't get cross with me for saying hyenas are smelly. They're not smelly right now, but they so often are. And lions tend to somehow be less concerned with the expulsion of flatulence than leopards seem to be. The lions can overwhelm you if you're sitting next to them when they've just eaten a big meal. They really can. I'm quite used to such smells. They don't really bother me at all. But sometimes it gets to the point where you can actually taste it. And it stays in your nostrils long after you've left the lions. Hyenas can really stink. They really can. I mean, their smell can actually hit you like a physical force. It's almost got its own personality. You half expect it to take some sort of physical, ghostly form of a hyena that trots along behind them. Our hyenas are snoozing for now, so let's go across to Lauren, who's found a presumably quite soggy-looking barbet. I guess we've been quite lucky because we've been sitting still. We're not actually particularly damp. I mean, we're a little soggy, but nothing too serious. I suppose our drive home will probably determine just how soaking we are when we return to camp. But sitting still like this means that we're not too bad. It's a little drippy in the back, yeah. The radios look alright though. Maybe put the handsets under some shelter. I've got the monitor cover on, so we're doing okay. We're definitely going to survive. Gert's just going to put a black plastic bag over. There we go, thank you. Over our cameras. Marvelous. There we go. Hello. Yes, sorry. You recognize that sound, Yes, you think it comes with food, you horrible creatures. Little beasts coming in, raiding our camp every night. Every single night there's little hyena tracks coming past my door. And they give you the side eye when you walk out to go to the bathroom. I've gone through a very similar thought process, Michael. So I do think there's validity in that theory. The idea that because what we have at the moment with our adult females is a bit of a hodgepodge in terms of relationships to each other. As far as we can tell, none of the adult females have a close female relative, so a sister or a mother or a daughter that could step up and support them in any kind of either challenge or defending their position in the hierarchy. And they do obviously very clearly in hyenas show some sort of kin selection. So Michael, I think that it's a valid point that because we've got that situation, perhaps there's actually less stability within the clan hierarchy. They're more willing to test hierarchical boundaries, and because they know that it's one-on-one almost. Obviously, there are mother-daughter relationships, like, for example, with Ribbon and Intima, and perhaps that put her in a stronger position, although I always found it very strange that Intima used to bully or assert herself over her mother in the way that she did. What's up, guys? Is it another water buck or something? What you listening to? So I do think that is a factor. Why this clan is the way it is, I do not know. I'm really not certain as to what it is that has resulted in this sort of almost negative growth pattern that we've seen over the years. Hyenas, when they're disturbed, if you have a situation like, for example, with farms, if hyenas are shot out for some reason or suffer some sort of disease outbreak or whatever the case may be, they're very, very slow to recover. But I don't know, I just find it very peculiar what this clan has been through over the past 4 years. And we haven't seen an increase in the number of adult females. We're up now. Oh, and we're back down again to a little puddle of hyena cubs. Oh, little ones. Probably very confusing for them. No, I read the story of the takeover of South Clan, and it made for really interesting reading. South Clan in the Mara, as recorded by the researchers, how a group of 3 hyenas got themselves hyped up and started attacking hyenas randomly, and the matriarch tried to step in and they tackled her, and it was her granddaughter who actually stepped in and tried to defend her and found herself attacked properly. And I think that it's really revealing into just how their support network actually acts. Oh, now we're getting rained on. Now we might actually have to think about moving to start our journey home, because otherwise we're going to be risking things. We'll stick around for a little bit longer, but now these are actual raindrops, not just mizzle, which is mist and drizzle. I'm going to stick it out for as long as I can, but unfortunately, please don't hate me, I have to make sure that this equipment gets home in one piece. I think I've broken enough for one day. Let's pop back across to Lauren while I try and figure out what to do next. Oh, very, very surprised, to be honest. I did not expect these hyenas to still be here, but look at that, look how lucky we are. That's something to be really, really excited about. We found our 2 young hyenas. There were 3 here this morning, but it looks as though the oldest one has actually moved off. I don't know where she's gone. She's gone for a walk, but these 2 are siblings and they are still here, lying down, looking very, very comfortable and very, very sleepy, waiting for their mom to come back and feed them. So they're still young enough that they are suckling from their mothers, or their mother, Their mother is one and the same in this case. And their names are Sutu and Tswana. These two little hyena cubs. That's very exciting. I really, really didn't expect them to be here. Now, because we spend a lot of time at the hyena den, it means that the hyena cubs get used to us quite quickly. And when these two were little, and they were very tiny, they used to come right up to the car and they'd sniff our wheels. Sometimes they'd try to chew on our wheels. Sometimes, occasionally, they tried to chew on our feet. Not because they wanted to bite us, but just because they're young, and like puppies or kittens, they kind of wanted to chew on everything. Bones, feet, legs, cushions, anything that they could find. Now, Naranjan, you want to know what hyenas eat. Hyenas are carnivores, which means that they eat meat, and one of them's now looking at us, which I think I want to show you their face because her eyes are open, which is quite nice. Hey, pretty. Aren't you gorgeous? See, I think spotted hyenas are beautiful. So hyenas are carnivores, and there are 3 species of hyena that are capable of eating quite large things and as well as crushing bone. So they've got very, very strong jaws, which means that they can crush bone and chew it and swallow it, and their digestive systems are actually able to make use of it. There's another member of the hyena family that actually only eats insects and is called an aardwolf, but it's a kind of a strange looking hyena. But these spotted hyenas or laughing hyenas, these are the ones that you would have seen in The Lion King. They hunt for themselves. They are more than capable of hunting for themselves. In fact, most of the food that they catch, they hunt for themselves. And they are actually really fascinating. And despite what the movies might tell you, they're also really, really clever. They probably, of all of the animals out here, one of the most intelligent in the way that we understand intelligence as human beings. They're very, very good at solving problems. I'm just going to turn my radio on for a second, just because there's some talking. I want to see if it's relevant to me. It's just Tristan talking to some of the other guides. So I love hyenas, and although it's not going to be all that exciting for this afternoon, I'm thinking that I might actually spend my entire afternoon here with them in the hope that something's going to change and perhaps we get to see their mother come and feed them. This is the first time we've had an opportunity like this in a really, really long time. So before, when they all lived around the den site, we were able to just drive there every morning or every afternoon and just sit with them and spend time with them. But now that they're old enough to be away from the den, so they don't live underground anymore, now they are wandering around covering a huge area. And it means that we struggle to actually find them at times. Now, Haley, as you can see, these 2 hyena are old enough now to have their spots, but you want to know when they get their spots. They get their spots at around about 3 months old. So at around about 3 months old, if you look carefully on their shoulders, you will see that they are starting to become spotty, and then gradually their spots become more and more visible. Now, the amazing thing about a hyena is that their spots are like a fingerprint. So that means that you can look at the spots and actually tell the difference between individual hyenas. So every single one is different. You see how this hyena closest to us has got 2 stripes of spots along her spine and down towards its tail. See there? See how they make that pattern? Now, it's quite difficult when they're this age because for some reason they become very, very fluffy at this point. So the fur almost hides their spots, but as they get older, then it becomes easier to see. And those spots are exactly the same as they were when they were small, just a little bit further apart because they've grown. Isn't that cool? So you can actually use hyena's spots like a fingerprint. She's dreaming. See how her nose is twitching in her sleep? Okay. Well, we've got lucky. Hopefully Tristan has some luck as well. Let's go across to him so he can tell you about his search for another spotted creature.
Well, hopefully, I think.
Very snoozy hyenas. I think that they're going to do that for the rest of the afternoon. But you don't know that because hyenas can be very, very active at times. So I don't want to risk going away and then coming back and finding that they've disappeared. That would be horrible, especially given how lucky we've got seeing them here in the first place. But don't you worry. If anyone can find a leopard, Tristan can find a leopard. He is one of those people who is just so determined and so skilled when it comes to finding animals. Sometimes we get lucky, and sometimes we have to try and use our experience and our skill, and nobody is better at it than Tristan is, so hopefully he manages to find you a leopard. Now, Maya, you want to know at what age hyenas start hunting? Well, their jaws are only fully developed and strong enough when they're about 2 years old. They probably could hunt now. They're not that old yet. They're not even a year old yet. But they probably could hunt something now. Maybe, even catching a tortoise would probably count as hunting for themselves. But it's only when they're about 2 that they can really participate in the clan hunts, although they will start from 12 months or older. Even now, if the clan were to come running past hunting an antelope, they would try and help. They just might not be very good at it yet. They're still quite small. They're still quite light. An adult hyena is around about at her most maybe 80 kilograms, a big female hyena. Whereas these guys, I reckon I could go and pick up now. They probably weigh somewhere around about 35 kilograms, so around about 70 pounds. So they're still very, very small. They're smaller than a German Shepherd dog. Well, Jackson, yes, and in fact we've mentioned some of their adaptations. So you want to know if hyenas have any sort of adaptations. Remember how I said that their jaws don't develop till they're 2 years old? That's because their jaws need to be really, really strong. So if you put your hands here, put your hands on the part of your jaws where your jaw joins to your top part of your jaw. So your bottom joins to top, just next to your ears, and move your jaw up and down. And feel the muscles there. Now, hyenas have got much, much stronger muscles that actually wrap all the way up to the top of their heads, where they've got a special bone, a special ridge of bone that the muscles can attach to, and then a very, very strong neck, so the muscles go down their neck and attach to their shoulders, and that gives them quite a sort of a powerful but quite a sloping body. So their bodies are much, much bigger in the front than they are at the back, and that allows them to crush big bones that other predators can't eat, and it also makes them very strong for hunting, but it provides something else as well. When a hyena walks, or when it runs, it does a funny little swinging motion, and hyenas are actually able to be very energy efficient. They can run or trot or walk for long, long distances. So something like a leopard or a lion needs to creep up on its prey and then jump out to catch it. So they need to get quite close. Hyenas don't really bother with that. They might every now and again, but mostly what they do is they just keep chasing. And they chase and they chase and they chase the animal until it makes a mistake, perhaps it falls down, or until it gets exhausted. So that's the way that hyenas hunt. They hunt in a completely different way. Similar, in fact, to wolves. Wolves often hunt that way. Their chases can go on for a long, long period of time. What a beautiful day it is. Look at that ray of sun. I had wondered why they were here, But I thought maybe there might be a leopard around, but I don't think so, because that third hyena cub has disappeared. And I think they're just lying here because of the shade. And Miriam, you want to know what the weather's like today. This morning it rained a little bit, not much at all, nothing to get excited about. A few drops at the most. Now it's hot again. I've forgotten what the temperature is. I think it's 31 degrees centigrade, which is 87, 88 degrees Fahrenheit. 88 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's quite warm. It's not hot. Sometimes it gets over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, sometimes even over 110 degrees Fahrenheit. So it can get very hot out here, but today's nice and sunny. It's a nice warm afternoon. So it's actually a really lovely day. There's a little bit of a wind. We're hoping that there might be some rain coming, but I think I've lost faith that that's going to happen. Thought it was going to rain, but it's not. Now Isabella, Oliver, and Kingsley want to know how long hyenas will sleep for. I actually spoke about this morning weirdly, because we were watching these hyenas and they were sleeping and they're still asleep. And my answer to that was around about 8 hours, usually during the day. So a hyena is mostly nocturnal, but they are active depending on how hot it is during the day as well. Now these little hyenas went to sleep at about 7 this morning, and they're probably going to sleep all the way until about 5 this afternoon, I would guess, depending upon whether or not their mom comes. But remember that these are still babies, so just like any baby animal, they generally sleep a little bit more than the adults. That doesn't always apply. It doesn't really work that way with lions. But generally baby animals sleep more than the adults. They also are not hunting for themselves yet. So that means that they are not moving around as much to search for food, where their mother would be. So around about 8 hours a day they will sleep, but these little guys might sleep for a bit more. And again, it depends. If it's super hot, sometimes at 7 o'clock in the morning it's over 30 degrees, and it stays that way right up until 8 o'clock at night. So sometimes they'll sleep for 14, 15 hours a day, especially if they've got big fat bellies and they're not hungry. Okay, kids, that went by really, really quickly, but unfortunately it is time for you to continue on your school day. Not unfortunately that you have to continue with school, but sadly your safari is coming to an end. So it's been fun having you. It's lovely to have some of you back, and it's lovely to have the kids who've joined us for the first time. I hope we get to take you on safari again very soon.
To Jamie, who I think is still with the hyenas.
Well done, Tristan. I know. That's epic. What a way to spend an afternoon. Our hyenas have also found a good way to spend an afternoon on a Monday. You know, that Monday morning feeling, or Monday evening now. One's got up and moved across, and they're now flopped. I mean, how's this for the picture of a happy hyena? Or at least a relaxed one for now. Belly to the air, legs folded up and under. I love how the direction of the fur changes on the belly. It's so sweet. You can see how much fluffier they are than the adults. Sweet little things. Jim, at first I thought that June was the most likely contender for the matriarch, with Pretty ill and Corky incapacitated. And you say you wonder if she's not the new matriarch. When we saw that fight the other night, it was absolute chaos, the fight that happened outside our camp. It was dark. We couldn't risk going any closer. Hyenas, when they get themselves worked up, hyenas are not a danger to people, unless you sleep with your door open or something like that. But they're not a danger to people on foot or anything like that. But when they're hyped up like that, then they are. And it could have potentially gone very wrong if we'd got any closer, and we would have interrupted their natural behavior. But through all of that chaos, I am still convinced it was June that ran away. with one leg up in the air, not really touching the ground. And I have no real proof of that. It's just that feeling. And then she showed up at the dam camp a bit later, that particular night. And then Hart and Tsaka and a couple of others arrived at the water as well, all hyped up. And then, a couple of days later, then a really beaten up hyena was seen. And I wonder, I think it's June. In which case, she's definitely not the new matriarch. But maybe she made a play for it. The only two hyenas that seem to be showing, the two adult females that seem to be showing no real signs of damage, are Ribbon and Hart. And June is unconfirmed, to be fair. It's just supposition on my part at the moment. It's just guesswork and a feeling. I think these guys are hanging around because Mom's not here. And Mom's not coming back to them. And they're hungry. I can see that they're hungry. Their little bellies are empty. They're not skinny, but they are empty-bellied. Yes, Taz, definitely they are more active at night. Unequivocally they are. You know, this was such a chance sitting here. It was a chance we had to take, but even as it got towards summer during the SABC show, even as the days stayed lighter and the nights came later, I found that the hyenas were coming back to the den later and later until it was almost after the end of the drive, or not happening at all. And now I'm a bit worried that June, if she is going to come back to them, is only going to get moving a little bit later than 7 o'clock, which is when we finish the sunset safari. And I won't be able to follow them at night if they get up and move. I won't be able to follow them now if they get up and move, to be honest. Oh, there it is again, to be honest. Not allowed to say that. Kimberly says that she thinks that Ribbon is the new matriarch. There's that third eyelid, by the way. Yes, I think that is possible. I don't have any reason not to believe it. I think Tsaka's behavior the other day was a clear indication of courtship behavior, but I do think he was ingratiating himself to her. I mean, his little bows. Could it get more sort of, I don't know, metaphorical than that, and bow to the new queen? If it was that way, then it would work really well for a story. But obviously we don't dictate the story to the animals. I think that Hart is also a contender as well. And the only reason I say that is because her mum once took over. And during that time, when Gwen took over, or at least rose up in the ranks, Ribbon was below her in rank. Maybe subversiveness is genetic. That's ridiculous. What a ridiculous statement for hyenas. And yet, who knows? I just don't have all the answers, and as much as I'm trying not to put any pressure on my last few days, I'm deeply frustrated that I'm not going to be able to unravel it before I go. Obviously, I'll keep watching. And hopefully, before I am forgotten by the crew here. So, 5 days after my departure. Maybe, just maybe. Yes, exactly. Emma doesn't even know who I am. What's going on, guys?
I thought I heard a whoop.
Do you hear a whoop? There's definitely a whoop behind. Oh, come on, please, please, please. Please pay off. Definitely excitement here. They're responding to something. One slightly more enthusiastically than the other. The one on the right is still half asleep. Dozy. What's up, guys? What did you hear? They obviously know who whooped. Ndebele could well have gone off in that direction. drink something again. Thank you, Samantha. I always trust my gut. Oh! Ndebele calling. I'm almost certain of it. How absolutely amazing was that there? That was worth it. That was worth it. That really was. That was so special. Oh, what magic. Somebody was asking me this morning if they can call at that age. They can. And we're up. And we're off. And the good news is we're going in the right sort of direction. And now we're sitting down again. Well, that was really, truly special. I don't know what they were saying. I don't know who's going to respond. But that was magic. Joey, whoop whoop indeed. It's the best sound in the entire world, and I should have recorded on my phone because I really want it as a ringtone. Thanks, guys. And then, of course, my camera. I had to take one photo, just one, of a hyena whooping. Just for me. Oh, little ones. Well, hopefully that was in response to Mom. I'm pretty sure that the one that whooped first was behind us. And then, when they started whooping in response, then I think Ndebele actually responded. I have no actual reason to believe that was Ndebele, except that it sounded quite high-pitched as well, that response. But I'm hoping that that's going to cause June to come in and find them. They're definitely looking behind us and not in the direction of the response that we heard. Okay, we're going to sit patiently. We're going to wait for things to unravel themselves. While we do, off you pop back across to Tristan.
The Djuma clan is approaching the others.
Luke's just arrived. Not one of the adults. Definitely dominant over these youngsters, and also interestingly injured in the back part of its leg. Oh no, that's just a spot. Never mind. Oh, I've got paranoia. Here we go. So we are getting a gathering now, which is exactly what we were waiting for. Watching the interaction, and I'm curious to see how they are behaving with each other. They're still not looking where the direction that this little individual came from. They're looking back to the direction of that first whoop. I'm hoping it's one of the adults. Hey, you. Oh goodness, now what? Definite excitement in their body language now. It's not... no. There's now anal pasting and running off. Oh, we're gonna stay. we're going to stay with these two. That little hyena might actually come back this way. It's anal pasting as it goes. I think that's Ndebele has my hat. No, my hat hasn't eaten my microphone. Still, anal pasting its way all the way along in the bush. Oh.
It's dead.
Oh, it's dead. My microphone is dead. That's unfortunate. Quick change. Oh. Bad timing. I'm going to switch my microphone right.
There's about 3 there.
There's about 3 there. Thanks, dog. Battery's changed.
Yeah, you're back.
We're back. Who is this? It's Sutu and Swana have just got up to move away. I'm going to have to go with figuring out who this hyena is. Let's just go. You two, just don't vanish, okay? They're going to vanish. Here comes this hyena. Sutu and Swan are going into the drainage line. Oh, Ribbon. It's Ribbon. That's why they're disappearing. They're not comfortable with her. Look how dominant her behavior is. Ribbon and Tima. And Ndebele, look how they're going to go and bully these 3. I mean, those 2. Look at this. This is so interesting. Here comes another one. Saka. Hey, Saka, of course it's you. Listen. That's either Sutu or Swana responding to the dominance display from Ndebele. Ribbon, Ntima and Saka have moved away from them, but they're going to go down towards that drainage line. Ribbon, the transformation is unbelievable. From that sad hyena of a couple of months ago to whatever this is. It's so fascinating. It is a proper underdog story. Oh, sticks in my way. Hold on, sorry. No, for sure, don't you go anywhere. Oof. Now, if June is around, Ndebele... Babies are squealing. Must you do this in here? Oh, great. We're going back to where we came from. Oh, sorry, we're going to have to look through sticks. It's either Sutu or Swana that's squealing like that. Ndebele is behaving in a very, very dominant way around the 2 little ones. Totally different to how she was this morning. And Saka's just wandering along for the ride. Saka, listen here. If you try what you tried with Steve, I will smack you. Here comes Sutu and Swana, submissive. They're hungry. Ndebele is coming in now, very dominant again. Same hyena. Saka, don't even... Luke, put your foot up. Sorry, he tried to bite Steve the other day. Don't even think about it. I would prefer not to end my stint here with a hyena attached to my leg, because he'll pull me right off. Who is this hyena and what has she done with Ribbon? No. Agent A, they're not hurting the babies. They are asserting dominance over them, which is why they were calling and whooping that way. I actually even mentioned that this morning. They're coming out now. You want to know where their mother is. No, sniffing sucker. You want to know where their mother is? I don't know. June. June is their mother. And I don't know where she is. And I don't know... Ooh. Ruben's body language. It isn't Tima, right? I'm not going mad. Why am I going mad? Very dominant sounds coming from her. See how dominant she's behaving over June's cubs? Guys, this is almost entirely conclusive that they're more dominant than June now. If June were dominant over them, she'd be hearing her cubs' squeals and she'd come running. I really, really believe that. The only remaining part of this mystery is heart. How very interesting. Surely, has Ribbon been plotting this all along? All those days, she sat miserable. Which hyenas do we go with? Sutu and Swana, I think, are going to stay here. I don't think they're going to go with this group. Yeah, I think we go with Ribbon. Sutu, Swana, I'd love to see your mom. I really would. They're coming out. I don't want to discourage them. Let me go onto the road. I think we've got to stay with Ribbon. There is a chance, though, that June is going to have heard that and going to come back to them. There is a chance, though, that June is going to have heard that and going to come back to them. Ah! You need to just clone myself quickly. One vehicle stays there. Painted Wolf says that it's a proper coup. It kind of really is. You know what we can do? We can check up on Sutu and Swana tomorrow morning in this spot. I don't think they're going to go far. Oh, shame. They're standing there looking so lost and lonesome. This is so interesting. Where is Paddy in all of this? Look at the behavior of Indabele. Is she still being dominant? No. Look how Ribbon's resisting lifting her leg. Look, 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 look. I don't know. Donald, I believe that hyenas would be intelligent enough to be capable of spite. I really do. But I don't know that Ribbon is exacting revenge. They didn't hurt Sutu or Swana. They just dominated them. It's a very important interaction, this. One of our highest ranked cubs now submitting, I think, to Ribbon. See how it's got its bottom tucked down? She resisted. Look, 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 look at this backing into her. Sue, does it happen often that a low-ranked hyena rises to the top? Well, I would be inclined to say no, except that it's happened twice in the space of 2 years. No, 3 years. Gwen, now Ribbon. Maybe. No, but I mean in the same clan. With Waffles, that's a different story. Waffles in the Mara, I don't think is comparable to here, because it's a much bigger clan. There's a lot more steps for a low-ranked hyena to jump before they get there, and that's why I think Waffles was the only recorded one to have done so in an area like that, in a researched group of hyenas. But she jumped up 70 spaces, not 5. That's a bit of a different story. Oh. Hold on. Just one second. There's an adult hyena that's coming through to Sutu and Swana again. I just want to see if it's June. I'm just going to go out of low range and consequences be darned. Yes, hyenas, thank you. Here we go. That's not June. That's not June at all. I would almost instantly say male because of the way it dismissed the cubs. The way that he didn't pay much attention to those cubs. No. One of our boys perhaps. Swollen right eye. Something happened. Sutu and Swana are still hiding in the foliage. And we're all going for a walk. I guess I'm going with. Cool. We couldn't have asked for better than that. Little lovelies. I don't have a choice here. I've got to follow Ribbon. I would love to see June come back. Sutu and Swana are still there. They're absolutely fine. They're just going into the drainage line. The problem is, where is June? Why hasn't she responded to their calls? She would have. She would have known her baby's voices. I think so. Michael, I think that Intima is showing every sign of being lower ranked now than Ribbon, even though she was dominant once before. I love it when I'm right. In the sense of staying with them, that is. Every now and again my instinct just actually pays off. I'm going to follow this troublesome foursome. There's something very naughty about their body language. While I do, off you pop across back to Tristan to see what he thinks of all of this. We're marching along looking very intimidating, but now they've got behind some sticks. Those sticks, man. Very, very similar to things that I've seen in the Mara with Waffles. She used to go off like this on a mission. I never figured out exactly what she was doing, but she'd go off on a territorial mission. She'd go and scrape and scent mark, and she'd take Ferg and Hershey with her, her sons, and Soup, her granddaughter, and they'd all march off together, and that's kind of what these guys look like. Okay, everybody hold on to your hats, because we're going to follow them. At least there's 4 of them. Makes life a bit easier. And other males coming behind. I don't know. Gina, I'm really not sure. I don't know what goes through the mind of these hyenas, even if they are waiting for that opportunity to rise in rank. Maybe. Oh, we're pooping. I'm just going to leave that one there, Darby. We know what a pooping animal looks like. Let's take that opportunity to get around here. I cannot believe this change in body language. All that determination. She's got a few healing scars around her face. To get to the position she's in, she must have fought for it. And Tucker, the world's best ingratiator, he used to ingratiate himself with Corky, used to ingratiate himself with Pretty. He's following along behind like a love-sick puppy. What have they heard up ahead? The only way this could get better is if June arrived. That would, or Hart, or both, actually. If they could just both arrive now, that would be amazing. And other males coming up behind us, but we've definitely heard something. They've all stopped. Huh. Darby, let me know when you need to put the infrared on. Ah, phew. Just a little piece of that mystery unraveled. I mean, ideally Pretty and Corky showing up would also be great, but I don't know. I think they're gonna lay low. And what is interesting about the last time this happened is it wasn't permanent, but maybe Ribbon remembered what it felt like. Didn't last long, and that's... She... Apparently Tristan's mentioning that it's probably all to do with a conspiracy that started way back when Ribbon was thought to be male. Yes. It's all been her plan all along. Confuse us, surprise us, unsettle us. We're going straight back to the road. I'm really being a twit here, but I'm so terrified of losing them that I don't want to play guesswork. And just by the by, Ribbon got her injured ear during the last takeover when she was put back in her place. She was seen one morning with a new facelift and a brand new attitude. Submissive, miserable, downtrodden, sorry for herself. Ribbon, you dark horse. I suppose it's only natural, you know. We don't know whether or not she affected any kind of coup, but it's only natural she'd take advantage of it. Pat says that she's kind of thrilled for Ribbon because she took so much flack. She did. There's another hyena there. That's the one that I think we saw come in later. All marching along down the road. And we are going back to the road, I think. Just by the by, if this troublesome fivesome decides to go towards Tundi's den, then obviously that's us done. Then we're out. We're quite far though, so don't panic. And we're not going in that direction. Look at this. And Tima, all tail up. The leader. Don't think that means she's more dominant, just means she's leading the way. And Ndebele, clever little thing that she is, has fallen in with her right crowd. I don't think we can necessarily assume that Ribbon affected anything, honestly. Might just be that Pretty got sick, Corky got injured, and Ribbon stepped up to exert herself. But I do think that she would have been involved in the beating that happened the other night. Excuse me, trees. Sticks. So many sticks. I don't know. Sticks and Stones says if Corky heals... Oh, why did you do that? I was about to go back onto the road. If Corky heals, will she accept her position or will she try and fight her way back? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I think we're just going to take a chance and go to the road. Ribbon, don't you stop playing I'm scared of cars now. She's not going to. Hyenas don't like being followed, but they're in a nice big group now, so they're not too funny about it. Oh, she's definitely not changing her direction because of us, because now she's coming at us. Come here, madam, I want to have a close look at you. I don't trust you. Don't even think about it. You caught me unawares once, my boy. It will not happen again. I don't think he'd actually bite me, but I'm not convinced that he wouldn't either. I'd prefer not to take that chance. I like having my quadriceps where it is. Like, looking at that other individual that came in, you're alright, you're not going to bite me. Duck down so you can see. I don't know how I feel about all of this. I do think they need leather jackets. There's definitely something very gangster about this little grouping. I don't know how I feel. I really don't. My heart broke when I saw that those images of Pretty. Corky and I have had long chats. I don't know how I feel. I think I feel mostly just relieved that we've got some answers. Because if June were more dominant than Ribbon, she never would have been able to dominate those cubs like that. And that's been like that for a while, because those cubs were scared when she came in. Not scared, but they were reluctant to encounter her. So she stamped her authority all over them. I don't know what that means about June. I don't know what that means in terms of her physical well-being. They're doing the social sniffs now. Listen. That's an adult calling. Whoever's calling like that, they're not interested at all. But that calling is coming almost straight from where we left Sutu and Swana, but I don't think it's June, because I think they would have turned round. I think. Don't actually know. So, hyena number 5 added to the collection. Submissive. But again, not a female. And they're dominating it just for the sake of it. Particularly in Ndebele and Saka. They've got something to prove. Oh, this is so interesting. Cool. Thanks, Emma. I think that's probably the hyena that you can hear, that I can hear on the dam cam. But apparently you're hearing them calling. I'm so... which way? Which way to go? We stick with these guys, they're going to cross soon. And what we'll do is we'll go back. Let's not drive through the nice, fresh, green pile of hyena scat. Ooh, pungent. What we'll do is if we lose these guys to Little Gowrie, which looks like we might, then we'll go back. No wonder Tundi moved her cubs. Yes, stay with me, Ems. No, unless you got something that you want to do with Tristan, stay with me. For now. Unless, Darby, you need to get the light on. We still got a bit of time, and they're very close to the boundary. Where's number 4 gone? Sucker, where have you gone? Are you trying to sneak up to bite me on the leg? No, there you are. No, it's not Sucker, it's Ndebele. Becky, you say if Ribbon is dominant, could she kill any of the other clan members? Potentially. It's unlikely. A death of a clan member will happen. You know, it's it's counter their own benefit if they were to start killing, if high-ranking individuals were to start killing off clan members, because they need clans to help, they need their clan members to help maintain their territory. Be all fine and well if she conducted a coup and promptly found herself steamrolled by the Elephant Plains clan. Off you go. Thinking about it. But she could kill them during the process of trying to establish herself. When hyenas get into that state, when they really start attacking each other, when they start to cause damage like that, it's possible that a hyena could die in that, or die of its injuries later. Ndebele keeps looking at Ribbon. Okay, are we going now? Are we going now? We're friends. We're friends. We're definitely friends. Aren't we friends? Remember how we've always been friends? Remember how I was always really not that bad to you? Well, that paid off. We're at Twin Dams now. We've stopped now. We haven't gone to the boundary yet. All that time ago, somebody had a sighting here. I can't remember who it was. I had to watch it again to try and get to know what the hyenas were being up to while I was in the Mara. And they were all playing in this water. And Ribbon, shortly after Ribbon had arrived with her mangled ear, and she just stood to the side, looking dejected. Regular, thank you very much. You say that I'm the true hyena whisperer. I'm not really, but I have been fortunate enough to spend time with the hyenas, and I find them really interesting. And I'm really, really, really glad that our gamble this afternoon paid off, because Sutu and Swana could just as easily stayed asleep the entire time, and while it would have been nice to see them okay, it wouldn't have really told us anything. This is about as good as anything we could have hoped for. You're all going to go across Twin Dams, aren't you? Ah, I picked the wrong road, or they did. They looked like they were coming this way. You're going to need that light soon. Yes, we are. It's getting very dark. We haven't had the opportunity yet to do it. Yeah, I think so. Darby, how fast do you think you can do this? Quick, quick. Yes, please. And I'm going to keep moving. I think they're going to cross onto Little Gowrie, so you know what they're doing. They're just doing more of the same. But for now, we're going to send you across to Tristan. Well done, Darby. Redemption. That was very quick. And you're just in time to see them cross onto Little Gowrie, unfortunately. But never fear, we're going to go straight back to Sutu and Swana as soon as these guys cross over. No, it's okay. They stopped and gave me the side eye. The team are leading the way again. And Ndebele trying to follow along. Good girl. You've got brains. Back the winning horse, my love. For now. Can always change sides later. I don't know. I mean, I'm finding it impossible to root for one hyena over another. I guess we just don't choose sides. We just watch it play out. Well, Eleanor, that's the weird thing, isn't it? You say, being such a small clan, could Ribbon have used the males to help her? Of all of the hyenas I would have expected to use that technique, I would have gone with Heart. Because she's always had such a close bond. Bye-bye, hyenas, onto Baboon Pan. She's always had such a close bond with the males of the clan. She's always hung around with the boys. And isn't it strange, but when you look back on the attack party that happened the other night, there were definitely males involved. There must have been. There's just not enough healthy females for it to have been anything else but using the males. How that played out and what role they played, it's almost frustrating because I don't think this kind of stuff's ever been recorded. I might be wrong, but using immigrant males that they formed bonds with to attack a natal female, that would be amazing, I think. Might have been recorded. Bye. Suta and Swana time. Let's go see if June waited it out and then came to them. Lily, clans don't really kick one individual hyena out necessarily, but you do get splits, and then yes, they can form their own clans. You get splits for a variety of reasons: food availability, perhaps there is a coup and there's no settled leadership established. Whatever the case may be, you do occasionally get clan splits. I don't know that there's ever been a situation where a female has been kicked out on her own and she's formed her own clans, or her own clan. The hyenas, the low-ranking hyenas, often spend time on the outskirts of the territory of their clan. They also occasionally intrude upon the territory of other hyenas, at which point, no matter what their rank, they will find themselves in serious trouble if they're ever caught. But they often intrude. It happens regularly. And low-ranked females, again, almost always on the outskirts. But I'm talking about research coming from the Mara and the Serengeti. I don't know how applicable that is to this place. I don't know how the Djuma clan formed. What I wouldn't give for a mobile DNA lab. Okie dokie. While we try and figure this all out, let's send you back across to Tristan to find out where he's planning on going next.
More luck than I am.
For sure. Most definitely. Unfortunately, Sutu and Swana are gone, which I guess I kind of expected. I had hoped they might still be there, but they're not. Let's just go and check Nyala Road South. It's the road that's directly opposite this drainage. I've tried to check into the drainage and I haven't had any luck, but a herd of elephants came through while we were away. Judging by the very strong smell of elephant in the air and the number of fresh piles of dung, which might also they've had a bit of an unsettling evening, I guess. But I just want to see if we can get lucky. Maybe June came through, called them. Oh, I saw some eyes. They belong to a bush baby though, and it's in some sticks very far away. Nothing else shines that bright red except for nightjars. That's a Nyala. They're not up there. Okay, let's try Nyala Road. I can't believe that all played out that way. Samantha, you want to know why I'm not using the spotlight like my usual lighthouse Jamie technique? For one reason and one reason alone. I cannot take the teasing. I'm a big wuss and I can't take it anymore. So I've changed my technique. Even though it reflects off the dashboard and bright burns out the picture. Yes, please give me the tiny violin from Tristan and I will play it. I will occasionally use it, the lighthouse technique. For those of you that don't know what it is, it's like this, with my arm right up, because I find it allows me to get deeper into the bushes. I will occasionally use it if I need to see something further down. There's some more Nyala. They are not hyenas. Miss Adamandra says that she feels that the dam cam is going to be busy tonight. I think I agree. I definitely agree. I don't necessarily think you'll see Ribbon because she's gone south to drink, but who knows who else you might see. There's definitely a lot going on. It helps, of course, that those are the only two water sources around, Galago and the dam cam. Alright, where am I? No, I'm not opposite that area yet. April says if they were to bully me about my spotlight technique, I should wise up just like Ribbon has. Yes, I'm planning a coup. He's secretly been planning it the entire time. It's a good plan. Just stay quiet and unassuming until right up at the last minute when I launch my attack. Ribbon. Oh, I always thought there was plenty going on in that head of hers. I don't know. I don't know if she initiated it or if she's just an opportunist taking advantage of a lack of leadership. Thank you, Michael. Michael says that he's really happy that I got some insight into the clan dynamics before I leave, and that you're going to really miss sightings like this with me. Thank you. I'm going to really miss them too. Something terrible, I imagine. In fact, I don't quite know. It's going to be a really serious period of adjustment for me. I'm not sure how I will feel about it all. Probably shouldn't just randomly take that 2-track in there. Rexon will kill me. So I won't. I'm gonna miss it too. Lots and lots. There's that feeling of, I don't know what it is. I suppose it must be like a feeling like detectives get from solving a mystery or something. I don't know. It's that feeling of just unraveling a little piece of the puzzle. Detangling a ball of wool and finding the end. Alright, I'm going to carry on my Nancy Drew mission this afternoon. Off you go back across to Tristan while I search for Sutu and Swana.